Hello and welcome everybody to coverage of YETICON 2022. This is an old school Magic the Gathering event held on November 19th, 22 at Green Mountain Brewing, Lakewood, Colorado, hosted by the Rocky Mountain Yetis Old School Magic the Gathering Club. I am Cory Hansen, and I'm going to be bringing you 5 rounds of action from YETICON's featured table here at the back of Green Mountain Brewing. Round 1 is going to pit Cory, that's me, on the left versus Martin Ernie on the right. Let's go on over to game number 1. For round 1, game 1, you can see we have Cory, that's me, on the left, and Marty with the awesome Sulphurous Springs playmat there on your right. Looks like Marty is going to have the first call. Both players taking a look at their first 7. Cory with the Rocky Mountain Yetis custom playmat. You might see a few of those as you watch the 5 rounds of this event. Looks like we are ready to go. Both players say thumbs up, and here comes Marty. What's Marty going to start with? Marty's going to knock down a mountain and a black vice. Turn 1, pretty good start, no matter what. So Cory's going to go to 17 before his first draw. Let's take a look. Black Vice, turn 1, pretty brutal. Kind of a sign that we might have a aggressive deck on this side. Cory goes with a Volcanic Island and a Soul Ring. Also not a bad start for Cory's deck. He's going to pass turn, though, with 17. Sadly, couldn't get enough cards out of his hand after being on the draw there with the Black Vice, so we're going to be taking some more damage. A Library of Alexandria there for Marty on the right, and he's just going to say go ahead. Cory's going to take 2 more from the Vice down to 15. He's going to draw a card for turn. Taking a look, and Cory's thinking, I've got to play out as many cards as I can. There is a Strip Mine, so not a bad answer for the Library of Alexandria, of course, and there is a Serendib Efreet. Cory was thinking, I was thinking about whether or not I want to be taking damage from that Efreet, but I needed to get cards out of my hand, and that's what I could get out of my hand at that particular moment. So the Efreet is down. We're going to be taking some more damage. There's a Lightning Bolt there at the end of turn from Marty. I almost missed it there. Lightning Bolt puts Cory down to 12, 12 to 20, and here is a Time Twister right there, an island into a Time Twister. So this is unfortunate because there's nothing Cory can do to get any more cards out of his hand afterwards because he's got no mana open. He is wisely going to Strip Mine the library. Strip Mining before the Time Twister goes off allows Cory to shuffle that Strip Mine back in to maybe use it again on a useful land that Marty might play out. Unfortunately, though, this means that Cory's going to be taking at least 3 more damage from the Black Vice that is down. More if Marty can get some power down in another Vice. And then also, of course, the damage from the Serendib Efreet. So Cory is in big trouble here with all of this direct damage coming out. And of course, we got another Lightning Bolt got shuffled back in. And Strip Mining the library allows the library to be shuffled back in as well. But he did play an island here to start this turn because he went mountain on the first turn, library on the second go. And Cory has the Geordie LaForge Pog there for the library that is a reminder to take his damage. Here's an Emerald from Marty. And Marty's going to say go. Cory's indicating he's taking 4 damage right there. You saw 4 fingers pop up, 1 from the Efreet and 3 from the Vice. And here is the draw. So Cory's biggest goal here is we've got to get cards out of the hand. We've got cards out of the hand. There is the Ruby. Cory's giving a thumbs up there to Marty. He just got that Ruby signed by Dan Frazier, the featured artist of YETICON. We were very fortunate to get Dan Frazier in. Cory puts down a Plateau, first white mana we've seen. Sends in the Efreet. It's now a 17 life for Marty. Efreet gets the first blood in, and here comes some Lions. So we've got 5 damage on the board, and Cory was able to knock some cards down. So we might be doing better in terms of Vice damage if Cory can get stabilized here. He's got some damage coming across. The factory there is a little bit unfortunate. It's going to stop those Lions from doing too much. We've got Martin's playing a Lotus, sack the Lotus for red. He's going to play a Bolt. Cory's going to go to 5. Use another red for another Bolt. Cory reaches for the dice to go to 2, and then Martin says, no, wait on that because we're going to fork that Bolt, and that is it for game number 1. That went by really, really quickly. Cory's cleaning up here after a very, very brutal assault from Marty. So that is a very fast game 1. Let's pop on over to game number 2 after sideboard. Game number 2. Always wanted to say that, and that was the last time I will say that in this series, I promise. You can see Marty has the 0-1 lead over Cory. Game 1, Martin's deck was an absolute steamroller coming out turn 1, going bonkers on Cory's deck. Let's see if Cory can mount any kind of effort here in the second game. Starts with a Plateau into a Savannah Lions. Perfect start, exactly what Cory's deck wants to do. Get a nice threat down on turn 1, and there's the Chain Lightning. That's exactly what Martin's deck wants to do, is get rid of those threats and then eventually use that burn to go through the life total of Martin's opponent. So Lions are down. Cory's taking a look and seeing where we can go from here. Looking at a couple of different lines, plays an island, and there is a Chaos Orb, and says go. Chaos Orb is fairly safe, I believe, with Martin's deck, unless he's got a Shatter sneaking around in there somewhere. Another Chain Lightning right to the face. There it is. 17, that's a good call from Martin to play that before Cory gets a second red source that could potentially bounce back a Chain Lightning. So there's 2 chains already in the yard for Martin, and Cory's wondering where we can go from here. Thinking about those Chain Lightnings, and does he want to keep some red mana open to bounce that back? Because Cory's deck is also pretty burn heavy and wants to kind of win a race of the life total. There's that Strip Mine. We saw the Strip Mine in game 1. End of Cory's turn. Here is an Ancestral. And does Cory have a Blast or a counter to take care of it? No, does not. Sideboards, I can just tell you from my own memory in this game, as I'm the player on the left, I mostly brought in my Blasts, and I took out some of my my creature taker-carers. So we've got two volcanic islands now on the side of Martin. Here comes a Psy Blast from Cory. So it's 15 to 16 right now. Cory takes 2, Martin takes 4. That was the end of turn, and now let's see what Cory wants to do here. Plays down a basic Plains. That's quite a lot of mana, but let's see if Cory has anything to do with it. He is going to actually strip mine the volcanic island, and it looks like he's going mana denial because he's activating the Chaos Orb. Cory, he taps 2 lands there for some reason. I think I probably forgot that I wasn't casting it. I was just activating it. So I guess I've got a couple there. I guess nobody noticed and had me take burn at the end of that turn. So anyway, there we go. I tapped 2 lands to flip it. The flip does land despite kind of an awkward stretch there over the wider table. I had to stand up to reach that stretch. And so mana denial not quite working because Martin was able to get another land drop, and a Black Vice comes down. So it's I was not expecting that in the second game as I was going through this. A lot of times you take those out, although Black Vice can still be quite effective against or things like Time Twister and Wheel, and so that would keep me off of my draw 7s if I have any for sure, especially as the life total starts to dwindle down. So Black Vice not totally useless here. And so Martin is taking a damage from his City of Brass to attempt to cast a Psy Blast, and then Psy Blast is red blasted. So 1 blast, blast, another blast. So it's 15 to 15 right now. Down comes a Factory and another Chain Lightning. So right now, Cory was open for it. He doesn't have 2 red mana to leave untapped to bounce that Chain Lightning, so that was a safe play there. Here comes another Factory, so 2 factories kind of looking each other down. They kind of act, in my opinion, like rooks in chess, as they kind of look each other down and neutralize each other. That's a fairly common thing to see in chess, so that's kind of the way I like to think of them, as the rooks of the old school Magic world. We have an active Factory and an attacking Factory. Let's see what Cory wants to do. He's got tons of mana. He has a Summoning Sick Factory, so that was a safe-ish attack, or at least offering a trade. Another chess terminology there, offering a trade of the factories if possible. But Cory has the Disenchant, and now it's Cory's turn. Down comes a Plateau, and now Cory is going to go on the offensive. He's going to come at Martin for 2. The Lightning Bolt is enough to take care of that factory. So we have 2 factories, 1 disenchanted, 1 bolted back to back there. And Cory's on 12 life now, thanks to that Chain Lightning from before. Here comes another factory from Cory and another factory from Martin. So the tactical battle here continues on the ground with these classic ground pounders here in Magic. 12 to 15. So Cory is going to light his up, offering the trade, offering the bluff, I suppose. I'm not sure. Cory's taking a drink, maybe trying to hide what he's holding out. And in lieu of activating the factory for the trade, we have a Psy Blast. Cory's looking and looking. The Psy Blast is targeting the factory, and indeed it does hit the factory. So he will take 2 damage down to 13. The factory is down. Always kind of a bad feeling when you have to use a Psy Blast on a factory, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Here comes another Lion for Cory. So the pressure does continue here. Cory's got some very nice draws for pressure. Tapping 4 here on a Fireball. That is 1 damage to the Lion and 1 damage to the life total of Cory. So as you see, he took a damage to tap for the Fireball, and Cory is taking 1, and the Lions are taking another 1. So that is how that played out, if you're curious about that. Cory does passing turn. Looks like 3 or 4 cards in hand. Down comes another mountain, another red source, and there is a disc. Navinarol's disc comes into play tapped, and of course you can tap it to blow up everything except lands on the board. Cory is, at the end of turn, going to disenchant that, and Cory's going to show off. This is his Alamo Club. He's showing off the San Antonio Alamo disenchant stamp. I like to play a lot of cool cards in the decks when I can, when I get a chance. So disenchanting that was mostly because, if you want my thoughts about it, was because my deck is fairly creature heavy and most of my threats are creature based. So I wanted to get rid of that if I could. It's nice to have a disenchant for things like factories, but I believe I had in my hand another bolt to deal with a factory if it came over at me. And there is another Psy Blast. So that's the thinking of getting rid of the disc, is so that I could cast my creatures free and clear. My Serendibs I kept in, and you saw the Lions there as well. So right here, that long thinking session there was Cory thinking about whether or not to use the Mana Drain on the Psy Blast, because I don't have a mana sink in my hand, and I'm hoping to actually draw one here, and that's never a good spot to be in, but I also did not want to be too low on life. I did not want to be down at 7 life too early. So instead of letting that Psy Blast resolve, I just counter it with the Mana Drain, and then I took a Fireball there. So that could have been down to 4. I could have been 1 more Psy Blast away from just going out. So it's tough to think about if you want it, when you want to use a counter spell like that, especially if you don't have the mana sink to use it. We are playing a mana burn format here. So if I can't use those 3 colorless mana here at the beginning of my next main phase, then we are in trouble. So Cory's going to draw. Those 3 mana are added, and I do not get the mana sink that I needed. There's a City of Brass. There is those 3 mana clearing off as I pass the turn, and it's 3 damage of mana burn. So that Psy Blast unfortunately ended up hitting me. There is a Lightning Bolt, a Valiant Blue Blast there to counter that Lightning Bolt, to try to save that life total just a little bit if I could. I believe I must have been holding on to that Blue Blast, and maybe the reason I countered that Psy Blast. So here is a Soul Ring and a Fireball for the last 5. The recall does nothing, and there is the handshake. So that is it. Game 2 goes to Martin, and that means that Martin takes the match in round 1, 2-0 over Cory. Martin, it was awesome to play with you, and I appreciate you coming out here to YETICON. You can see our players just kind of chatting, having a good time, and we definitely had a great time at YETICON. Between games, during games, and bouncing around between on the brewery, going to get to the bars, going to beers at the bar, and enjoying some Magic, looking at our sideboards and chatting. We had a really nice time there. So that is it for round number 1 coverage. Please feel free to check out the links to our site down here in the description of this video, so you can check out the other YETICON action. Watch this channel here, as the other 4 rounds are going to be posted on this channel as we go forward. For now, this is Cory signing off.